For my rhetorical analysis and sonic outline, or sonic analysis of a song, I chose to do Chandelier, which was released by Sia Furler in 2014, which she's now commonly known as Sia. And in June of 2014, the now famous singer-songwriter Charlie Puth covered this song. Puth, who was just 23 years old at the time, was just relatively unknown. The cover gave him more credibility, but it really did not elevate him to a status of fame per se. The song, however, did give Sia that status of fame, as it achieved 2.4 billion views on YouTube. The song was written with lyrics that could be interpreted deeply or taken just as they're sung and heard initially. Sia wrote the song to share about her story with her battle with addiction to alcohol, but most listeners, including Puth, listen to the song as a girl at a party who suffers the consequences of her choices the next day. The genre is pop, and the song was written for an audience of people who struggle with addictions, more specifically alcohol addictions, as Sia suffered from an alcohol addiction when her boyfriend passed away in 1997. The three main concepts highlighted throughout the song are ethos, the credibility of the song; logos, the general logic that lies within the song; and pathos, the emotional outreach that impacts the listener of the song in whatever way they may take it. Ethos is known as the credibility as a song that passes, as I mentioned, and to what degree the listener chooses to believe the message in that song. Ethos is seen throughout the song, but viewed differently through the two artists that sing it. Given that Puth was just 23 years old when he covered the song by Sia, the lyrics, "I'm the one for a good time call," were not outlandish for someone that young, and they seem to fit the stereotype that a number of young people enjoy to let loose and have a good time and party. Puth also receives his credibility in the lyrics that say, I'm gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist." They gave Puth credibility because young people tend to let go and live like there's no tomorrow when they party and really kind of go crazy per se. On the other hand, Sia establishes her credibility in a completely different way. Given her addiction to alcohol, the lyrics "Can't feel anything, when will I learn" show the singer's personal battle and how she has to drink to feel numb rather than living in the pain of the loss of her loved one. This causes Sia to suffer from an addiction to alcohol. Sia suffered a personal addiction with alcohol and vocalizes it in her song by singing, "I'm gonna fly like a bird through the night, feel my tears as they dry." Sia is describing how she will live wildly through alcohol, using it as a way to forget the pain she's enduring. Logos is essentially the appeal to find the logic behind a piece of literature, and the lyrics highlight this rhetorical element through several ways. Puth does so by saying in the lyrics, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink, throw 'em back till I lose count. That it signifies the sequences of an individual drinking alcohol continuously to have a good time, to the point of failure to recall how much they drank in the events that happened previously. The lyrics, "Keep my glass full until morning light, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight," signify that Sia was continuing to drink away her hurt from the passing of her boyfriend while being fully aware that tomorrow is indeed in her future, but that she will just deal with the consequences when she gets to tomorrow. She'll deal with tomorrow, essentially, is the notion that goes through that quote to Sia. Logos is seen through Sia's reasoning behind her choices to continue drinking, as she's just suffering a great deal of grief and pain. And the last of the rhetorical elements is highlighted in this song is pathos. Pathos is the essence of emotions and one's emotional responses when listening to a song. In this particular song, pathos is the most prevalent. When singing, "I'm gonna live like tomorrow does not exist," or doesn't exist, I should say, Puth establishes how one may feel completely energized, wild, loose, just choosing to act in the moment. And many listeners may personally connect with living in the moment, making spontaneous decisions that they just may regret later on. Listeners can also feel a deep connection to Sia as she sings, "Sun is up, I'm a mess, gotta get out now, gotta run from this." These lyrics are deeply profound and hold layers, in my opinion. Although Sia is personally saying that when she wakes up from a night of binging with alcohol, she feels terribly ashamed, choosing to run away, per se. Listeners may associate this to their decisions that may not be so severe. One can feel an emotion of stress and self-criticism in their day-to-day life, but most especially in the morning after they make said decisions. Oftentimes, I could choose to eat poorly after a night out with my friends, resulting in feeling a regret the next morning. I may choose to finish reading a novel rather than getting ahead of schoolwork, and the next morning I wake up wishing I didn't do those things. I wish I would have taken different actions, but nonetheless, I have to face my decisions, and I choose to hide, and I think we all can personally understand that feeling, and Sia establishes it with those lyrics. Listeners may also feel an emotional connection to both musicians as they sing, but I'm holding on for dear life, won't look down, won't open my eyes. As I said, we often block out the negative consequences of our decisions. I personally do it, and I know from Pooh's perspective, it can be the decision to party having left him feeling full of dread or like an ill feeling. On the other hand, Sia's decision would be to avoid the situation that her loved one has passed and cope by consuming harmful amounts of alcohol. Lastly, to close, Chandelier by Sia Furler and covered by Charlie Puth is full of meaning, both upfront and once you dig deeper into the lyrics. Though it may initially have the purpose to tell the story of a partygoer's journey, it is deep down the tale of one coping with death through an addiction to alcohol. The song uses rhetorical elements such as ethos, the credibility of the song, logos, the general logic that can be taken from the said song, and pathos, the emotional outreach that impacts the listener in some way to tell the story with meaning.